SEO. Okay, well, let's talk about SEO. Oh yeah, you got to have your SEO, blah blah blah, everything like that.
Right.
No, it's useless as for marketing as an artist. You need to create content, get that content out there in as many different platforms and as many different variations and creative styles as possible
Right.
in order to get your brand awareness up.
Mm-hmm.
That's where it matters.
What up, y'all? It's your man Harkos and KP, and you are tuning in to Music Making Sense Podcast. How's everybody doing? And I just want to do that intro right quick because my guy's not feeling good, but you can tell he's just getting over it. But how you feeling otherwise, Hark?
I'm doing all right, man. Yeah, I just was fucking trying to clear my throat, and you're like, you know what? I'll just go ahead and hop in. I'm like, all right, whatever. So
he could have told me that already, you know what I'm saying? But hey,
no, it's all good. It's all good. Yeah, I'm doing pretty good, man. Just just doing the daily grind, everything, just trying to get everything out there. Just been getting a lot of the editing done from these episodes we've been shooting and everything like that, and getting everything all posted up on the socials, getting all that content out there, because content is king. And so yeah, if you are not following us on the socials and you're only listening to us on one specific streaming platform or something like that, just go follow us on the socials. We post clips up from the episodes, but then we also post up other things that we find along the way that are beneficial in some way, shape, or form. We post it up on the socials as well too, so go ahead and go follow us on the socials and share those clips, especially whenever you find a good clip. And feel free to make your own clips of the episode and just tag us in it. It's all good. Just don't try to claim it's yours, obviously. It's gonna have our face on it and stuff like that. But if you want to create your own clips and share it up and stuff, just give us a tag and we'll like and follow and all that stuff as well too. So we share the love whenever you share the love. Yes. But yeah, we're coming here today. We got quite a couple of different things that we wanted to talk about. I had already hit KP up about a topic that was something that I had an artist hit me up about. But then he had a couple other things as well too. So I just the topic that I wanted to talk about here, let me read my text message I sent him. Exactly.
I'm just sitting there just right quick. I was just sitting here thinking about having a coffee mug or a cup with our podcast. I don't know.
Yeah, you can do that.
I just thought about that. I'm actually do that. I'm just thinking about that. So go ahead, boss.
Yeah, go ahead and get that done, man.
Yeah.
But yeah, so I said I texted him, I said, what do you think about talking about how SEO is utterly useless for artists on the next episode, right? Now I said it just like that.
You said it just like that, y'all.
For a reason. Because a lot of artists, there's so much information out here.
Right.
And when people have a platform kind of like what we have, where you are creating content on how to help artists grow, and you're creating products and services and stuff like that, and your focus is on, all right, let's come up with something new. We got to always have new stuff to talk about.
Right.
A lot of people get stuck in that trap. And so they just find like any and everything to talk about, as long as it's something new that they've never talked about before. But sometimes going back over some old stuff or updating some old stuff is always better.
Right.
But either way, a lot of the content that you'll find on the internet and stuff like that will always try to come up with something like, oh, there's this new way to do this, the new way to do that, the easier way to do this, stuff like that. Yeah. And some of it is good and some of it's not. And as an artist, trying to worry about SEO is completely, utterly useless. So for the reason I say that is because for those who don't know what SEO actually means, you may have just heard it thrown around. It means search engine optimization, which means that your website is optimized to where when people search up specific key things, you rank as high as possible on the search engine results. Right. Okay. The thing is, the reason I say it's completely, utterly useless for an artist is because people don't go to Google and say, and look up something that has to do with music, unless they're looking up specific lyrics that they heard or that popped in their head, like, oh, what song was that from? They type in the lyrics real quick and then it pops up with this thing.
Or if they're looking for a full artist, if they're looking for the full artist, though, because I know I have a habit of doing that. Like if I'm looking up an artist, right? Yeah.
If they're looking for a specific artist,
right?
That's exactly true. So if they're looking for you as an artist, they will type in your name in the search engine, whatever search engine they're using. They'll type that in, and then if you have a website, it'll show up. If you're on any socials, it'll show up with those accounts, and then in the news section, it'll show any like blogs or any kind of articles and stuff like that have been posted on the internet about you and stuff. Not any of your posts on social media. Those won't show up in news or anything like that. You'll just see like the accounts. You'll see Facebook, Twitter, whatever, and you'll see all of that on there. But that's if somebody is looking up a specific artist. Okay, that's if they're looking you up specifically. But if you are an artist and you're trying to be found, which every one of us are, and you're trying to use SEO, or somebody told you need to have SEO in order to be found, it's ridiculous, because people don't go on Google and look for new music. They go to the DSP to look for new music, or they'll go to social media to find something in the realm of new music that they're looking for. But most of the time it is on a streaming platform of some kind, YouTube, Spotify, Apple Music, whatever. They'll type that in, and a lot of those DSPs, they have stuff already categorized for mood and stuff like that. And so that's where you actually need to get in, and the reason I brought this up is because I actually had an artist that I've known for a long time that I started working with here lately and stuff. And he sent me a thing. He's like, hey man, can you help me optimize my SEO? I was like, dude, you don't even have a fucking website. I was like, SEO is for optimization of your website, but it's mainly for e-commerce.
Right.
E-commerce and blog stuff like that. When you're running a website and you're wanting high traffic to your website because of a good or a service that you actually produce, that is an e-commerce good, not a music good, because it just, people don't search for it, and if people do search, go to Google, right, and they type in like, new music August 2023, it's going to come up with a bunch of blog articles from blog websites. It's not going to come up with Harco's new release, unless I'm hitting all the fucking blogs. So if you want search engine optimization, you need to be on blogs and stuff like that in order to get some awareness. But that's just part of an overall marketing campaign that includes, blogs and podcasts and social media posts and social media reach and everything like that. That's all included in that. But SEO is like, if we came up, KP just talked about coffee mugs. If KP wanted to have a coffee mug company where he sold coffee mugs with all kinds of, quirky sayings or cool looking pictures or designs or whatever on coffee mugs, he would do that. And then he would post blog articles on that website periodically that talk about different kinds of things that have to do with coffee mugs or something like that, right? And then when people go to their search engine and they want to look for coffee mugs, or they look for something that has to do with coffee, and then you show up, hey, I sell these quirky coffee cups and stuff like that, you have some crazy name or something like that, right? That is what you need SEO for. But as an artist, you don't need SEO. It's completely and utterly useless. You need actual awareness campaigns. That's what you need. You need awareness. You don't need SEO, because people aren't searching for, unless people already know about you, which is part of the awareness campaign. Unless people know your name, they're not searching on, there's like no chance they're going to find you on a general search unless they're typing in your name.
Right. So, and then it sounds like to me, like you're saying that in order for the search engine optimization to work for an artist, because to me, just from what you're saying, I don't necessarily think it's useless, but I do see where you're coming from if you don't put the proper information or have a website in there so that people, if they do, say if you like myself, who wants to just look up an artist, brand awareness and that thing. We're going to touch on a little bit of brand awareness because we were talking about I was listening to Corey talk about it. Shout out to Corey and Sean of the No Labels Necessary podcast, but they were talking about it. And just, it seems like from what you're saying is, it's not necessary. I don't consider it necessarily useless. I consider it just, if you don't put enough information in there, such as blogs, and let's go over publicity, right? Doing the publicity, going in public, doing public relations, such as vlogs, blogs, podcasts, interviews, those sort of things. You're not gonna, there's a good chance you, or even like you said, having a service through via Google. If you got a website, like my business website is on Google. So I do get people searching through there because the fact that it's on there. But it just seems like to me more so you need to put in a little bit more information and have specific things done in order to make search engine optimization useful for an artist. That's what I'm thinking. I mean,
yeah, I get what you're saying, but I mean, it comes down to people already have to know you in order for you to pop up on social media. So they have to know your name to find you, to even type it in to Google or what have you. You know,
doesn't that help with social media? Like if you got social media, more 9 times out of 10, they see that name. If you're using that art, and say if you're using that moniker, isn't that it? That's going to end up kind of, and if you're consistent with it, if you really want to be, if you want to have that consistency in the search engine optimization. In fact, who was it? Sean actually showed us this, where if you have, like, if your name, like if you're, since you're Harkos, right? If all of your platforms say Harkos, have Harkos on there, then in the search engine optimization, it's a lot easier. What happens is that with some of us, and I made this mistake myself, all of my platforms did not have the same name. They had different names. So that's where people got confused. And as soon as I was able to change that, that's when they were able to see it.
Well, that's more brand solidarity. That's not necessarily SEO.
That's not SEO. Okay.
No, because we're still getting back to people looking for you by your name. You know, when people type in Harkos, they find multiple different things. So they find me,
right?
But then they also find their Star Wars had a bounty hunter in like an animated series named Harkos back in like 2013. And then you also find Harkos. It's like a saying over in like Indonesia area and stuff like that. It means like good tidings or whatever, something like that. Yeah, it's really weird, but still, like what I'm getting at is like when people are looking for new music, like let's say I'm like, I want to hear like the latest trap music.
Okay.
People don't go to a search engine and type in newest trap music. Some people do, but most people don't. But even still, if you search that, if you searched in new trap music 2023 August or something like that, right? You type that in, you're gonna find a bunch of blog articles from XXL and Hip Hop DX and a bunch of like the big blogs that get a lot of traffic, so they rank high. And you're typing that in because they're creating articles and posts that say that in the headline or something is similar to that in the headline, and they put that into the metadata of their blog article as well too. However, if Harkos just made a new traps track in August of 2023, you're not going to see it. I could have made it August 1st. You're not going to see me at all unless I have a bunch of blog articles that are talking about hottest trap track of August 2023, and I have a bunch of blogs talking about it, and they're all referencing me with that title. That's when SEO would even get you some awareness. But in general, when people are looking for new music, they go to Spotify or Apple or YouTube or whatever, and they click shuffle or they click play, or
Facts.
they click new music or release radar or whatever the fuck. So getting in there is where it actually is not utterly useless. You know what I'm saying? In my
Good
point of
point.
view, because that's where people are actually going to find new music. And like I said, on social media, when they are hearing about new music, it is from either, you know, a blog article, or you doing a promotional campaign for awareness on
Right.
social media, and you're having a snippet of your track up there and doing all the standard marketing and advertising things that you do in an awareness campaign in order to get your new music out there. And
Okay.
so I like I said, the reason that I say it's utterly useless was for everything I just said, because I see a lot of people will always try to, oh, I want to be the first talking about this, I want to be first talking about that and
Right.
stuff like that, and they market that. And so when a lot of artists see that, they're like, if you're an ambitious artist, you want to see, you want to use the latest technology, you want to be ahead of the curve and everything like that. You don't want to fall behind, because then you get
Right.
drowned out in the
You get
waves.
drowned out.
you
Yeah.
you want to be at the beginning of that wave. And so people always try to hop on. And so like when music marketing podcasts, that aren't as good as our podcast here that you're listening to, but are decent, when they're putting out content, they are they
I
are
ain't giving up with dog. Come on now.
they are trying to give out the newest information, or appear to have the newest information. So they are going to come up with all kinds of shit. And so when they like, okay, the SEO, okay, well, let's talk about SEO. Oh yeah, you got to have your SEO, blah blah blah, everything like that.
Right.
No, it's useless as for marketing as an artist. You need to create content, get that content out there in as many different platforms and as many different variations and creative styles as possible,
Right.
in order to get your brand awareness up. That's where it matters. And that's what I told this artist too. And I've known this artist for years. You know what I'm saying? When I first started my radio show style podcast, he was one of the inspirations for it, because I knew this guy before I even started doing podcasts. He was out here, trying to put his music out and stuff like that. He just wasn't really getting anywhere and everything. And then he was like, oh, there's not really any platforms. And so in 2017, I created a fucking platform. He was the first artist to rock with me when it was just an idea. He had my back from day one and everything like that. And he, forwarded a lot of artists to me and vouched for me and everything like that. Right.
Right.
And so when whenever he came to me about that, I came to him about wanting to help him out and stuff like that. And he was like, yeah, that's cool, no problem, man. And he's like, how can you help me with my SEO? And I was like, you don't fucking need that. I was like, and then I gave him a whole plan about how you need to, create long and short form content. You need to have this, you need to be posting this many times of this much different things and everything like that. The whole release strategy content, calendar. And he was like, okay, dope. Like, that's that simple. But he's not the first artist that I've seen post something about that. Like, obviously this is a DM, but I've seen artists post shit all the time about stuff like that. And it just aggravates me, because for the sake of appearing like you're ahead of the curve, you're focusing on and you're wasting your brain power and your time on bullshit.
Yeah.
That doesn't matter.
It doesn't
You know
matter.
what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like, if you're trying to create an e-commerce website, yes, you need SEO. If you're trying to create a blog, yes, you need SEO. For instance, for our podcast right here, if you're trying to have a content-based podcast around a specific topic, like we have it around music marketing, or if you want to have one about basket weaving or whatever, then yes, SEO matters to get your reach out for that kind of shit. But as a musical creative artist, for your music only, SEO does not matter. If you have another element to you where you are, teaching people about
Drums
music marketing, or
drums
about
or whatever,
or you're teaching somebody about how to play musical instrument, or if you're teaching people how to invest in real estate or something, all that kind of shit is where SEO actually matters. But But yeah, just for your general music, that does not matter. You need to
That
have
makes sense.
awareness, and you need to be up in the thing. So I mean, do you disagree with anything that I said? Feel free. I mean,
Actually, when you
anything you
just
got.
now that you've broken it down
Mm,
and you brought the next, I was going to ask you what will be the solution.
mm,
And to be honest with you, now just listening to you, no, you kind of, I definitely see where your point. I see where your point is,
right.
because you got to think of it like this: an artist, if you actually just to kind of piggyback and see where just to well piggyback and to kind of usher your point.
Right.
It's I can see where you're coming from, because when I think about music, I'm not automatically, I don't go to the SEO to look for your music. If I'm looking for a whole, if I'm looking at you, I'm looking at you as a whole artist. Like if I'm if I'm coaching an artist or whatever, right? It's one of those things where I'm gonna look up that certain artist. And we're talking about how they fit in your brand and those sort of things. That's where I'm gonna be able to say, hey, this is where I could go to the search engine optimization and check out the artists that we're talking about.
Right.
But
Yeah.
when it comes to the music, yeah, you're
Yeah.
right. Like when it comes to music, I'm not going to the search engine optimization. I'm just gonna go straight to YouTube, or
Mm-hmm.
actually not even YouTube. I go to Spotify,
Right.
right?
Yep.
and be able to listen to the music there. Cause yeah, it's sort of like, it kind of doesn't make sense. Well, I won't say it doesn't make sense, but what's the point of going to discover music on the SEO when you already got, which is in a sense, Spotify and all those, the playlists are SEOs specifically for music.
Yeah, and they do have an SEO ability in those platforms,
Right.
but that's based on when you're uploading your track to the DSPs, and then when you're setting all that up, you're putting in, what other artists this song sounds like,
Mm-hmm.
what mood this is, topics and stuff like that as well too. That's what you actually worry about. And I mean, that would be more in terms of metadata for the recommendation engine that a lot of these DSPs have.
Right.
They don't, I mean, YouTube has a search engine section of it. So when you're putting up your music video and stuff like that, you need to try to put all the metadata in there and stuff like that for the search engine of YouTube. But
Mm-hmm.
but most of the DSPs, including YouTube, work off of a recommendation algorithm,
Right.
and that's where your metadata on all the different details of you as an artist or that track and stuff like that, it
Mm-hmm.
comes into play. But like you said, though, to tag onto that, when you say, when I do go search an artist, you need to have all your platforms to have the same name, or it's
Name, right.
very close to it. Obviously, sometimes you can't have it exactly just your artist name of Harkos, because some of my stuff says Harkos, and then some of it will be Harkos _ music. You know what I'm
Right.
saying?
That's what I'm
Something like
saying.
that.
Yeah.
Right. But it all falls in line. If you type in Harkos, once you get past the Star Wars one, which is only like one thing, because it was just like a brief bounty hunter in like a one episode or whatever, which is fucking,
Right.
it trips me out.
Yeah.
It's not like his Darth Maul or something. It's not like a
Right.
huge
It's not
character.
like
You know
fucking
what I'm
Boba
saying?
Fett.
No, yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. Yeah, it's not a huge character. It was
Not
in like this one
Anakin.
little cartoon in a couple of things. Yeah. So, but you scroll past that, and then all of a sudden you start seeing, Harkos on Facebook, Harkos on Instagram, Harkos, all the different places. So,
Right.
so that is where you want to have it, but that goes towards your awareness,
Right.
and your brand structure.
Mm-hmm.
I think that would be a good way to say it.
I think that's a great way. Yeah.
that's what you want. You want to have your brand structure, because that is useful when people actually do go search your specific name.
Right.
But besides that, your main focus with marketing is going to be awareness. You want people to
Exactly.
know
You
you.
want to
You
know
want
people
to
to
you
know
want to
you.
be in front of them. Yeah. Yeah. So
Beautiful, man. That is
Yeah.
that's dude, you just hemmed that joint up, my nigga. Like
Right. Well, it's just it's one of those things I've heard so many different times from people. And so whenever he messaged me about that the other day, I sent it to you in a text so neither one of us forgot, which we
right.
did, but luckily
We
it was in
did.
text. Right. But I put it in text for a reason. I'm like, yo, we need to talk about this
Yeah.
and stuff. So
no, that's a good one, man. I really appreciate that one because now
yeah.
you know it definitely has us. So hopefully you guys can think differently when it comes to search engine optimization and not have to so much worry about it.
Yeah.
As much as we like to worry about certain things, and I know that is, I think that is one of those high percentiles of concerns that we do have when it comes to the search engine optimization because of discovery. So
yeah, but like I said, if you have something besides your music that you have a business in, you know, whether it's, you know, woodworking or whatever the fuck, you know, t-shirts. What was that?
I said podcasting.
Yeah, podcasting, woodworking, whatever the fuck. That kind of stuff. Yeah, you need SEO optimization. You need to worry about all that kind of stuff, you know, if you got a blog or something like that. But for your just your general artistry, no.
Good point, man. So,
but yeah, what'd you have to bring up? You had some stuff as well too. You want to talk about?
So kind of going off of that, let's talk about. Shout out to Sean and Corey, our two guys who brought us into this game with. Well, we know we did, but here's the thing: we joined their course. We paid for them, so therefore we really like. So I think and the fact that we wouldn't be together, we wouldn't be well, I'm not gonna say it like that, but
right. We wouldn't have connected with each other if it wasn't for that. Right. And I want to say something on top of that real quick too, because so I shared one of the posts from our episode, one of the clips from our episode 2, and it was one where sorry, it was one of my personal posts where I was talking about how local first it is a failed mentality and stuff like that. Well, an artist that saw that commented on there, and he knows that because I told him months ago when I first found Brand Man Network, I'm like, hey, you should check these guys out. They got a network for artists, and then they also have some stuff for music marketing, executive course and stuff like that. They drop a lot of knowledge on there and stuff like that. You should go check it out, man. It may be worth you finding somebody to get some tips and tricks and stuff like that off of, right? Well, apparently he took that as,
so one of the most important things.
Go ahead.
Apparently he took that as like I'm in their cult, they're my gods, because whenever I posted that thing about how local, worrying about being local and doing live shows is utterly useless. I like using that term, but like I was saying, like I said something about to the effect of doing live shows is old school. You need to focus on the new school of actually being on the on the internet. You have internet brand awareness and stuff like that, and building that brand structure. And he responded in a message with a link to a short from Brand Man that said like 3 steps to break an artist, and in there they talked about doing live shows and stuff. And then he commented, he goes, well, I guess they're old school too, man, or I must not know what I'm talking about. And I was like, yeah, they're old school in that approach. I disagree with them. I'm not a cult blind follower. I take information from all different kinds of people. I process it in my mind independently, and then I decide what I feel is relevant and correct, and what I don't feel is relevant and correct. And you should know that, because I know this guy did pretty decent, right? And he didn't message anything off of that. Wait, no, he messaged back, oh, you should check out such and such artist or whatever. I just ignored it. I'm like, why would I check out some other artist? You are an artist. Like, why are you trying to tell me about other artists? I appreciate sharing the love and stuff like that, but I see that's one of the things too that bugs me like none other. I see so many artists that will like fanboy and girl or whatever the fuck on on all these other artists, and I'm like, okay, cool. Why don't you promote your music half as much as you do such and such as new music that they just put out? You know what I'm saying? If you talk about it a little bit, and then you promote yours as well too, and stuff like that. Okay, cool. If you use their music to create something to promote your music as well too, okay, you're like, oh yeah, the new Travis Scott album, it's all right, but my album such and such is even better. Okay, like doing something like that, taking a relative topic and then injecting your own marketing into it, doing stuff like that. But when you just straight up, like, we're talking about some shit and you're like, oh, check out this person, I'm like, no, I refuse. I
had that happen to one of my artists too. He was telling me about
Yeah.
that. He told me that happened to him. This guy, he hit him up on his hit him, DM'd him, and then was trying to like preach this word to him and stuff. And he talked to him about, he brought up about Brandman and them too, because I've been showing him films or
Right.
videos and courses and stuff. And this guy comes at him trying to tell him like, oh, well, you don't care about your music and you're not passionate and this, that, and he's got this many followers and yada, yada, yada. And my boy was like, well, you know what? I'm doing my thing. Right.
Yeah.
So
I hate when people do that, man. Like, you have these internet these people that go out and do marketing on the internet for their services and stuff like that are music related, and then whenever you turn them down, they tell you, oh, you're not serious and everything like that. They're trying, I mean, it's a bullying tactic. It's a bullying peer pressure tactic that they're trying to use. Instead of selling value, they're trying to fucking strong arm you into it. And it's like, look, man, you're not trying to get me to smoke crack for the first time, motherfucker. You're trying to get me to actually do something. You're trying to get me to buy into your services. You're not trying to get me to be an addict on your new drug and shit like that. But that's where a lot of people, they kind of drag that line for some reason, man. It's crazy. And then too, like, a lot of people, when they find something that gives them a lot of value, they become a cult follower of it, whether it's a religion or whether it's somebody online that's giving out information and stuff like that. They become a cult follower, and they think of, they regurgitate everything that person says. They hinge on every word, and if that person did not say it, or that person said opposite to what you're saying, you're wrong. And that just proves my point whenever he brought up, oh, well, your boys over at Brain Man don't think that, and I'm like, yeah, there's a lot of shit I don't fucking agree with them.
Right.
But doesn't mean that I can't take the information I do agree with and I do find value and take that and use it to my advantage and tell other people about that.
Yeah. And two, the guys, they're pretty, like, they're really open about, like, people having these disagreements. I mean, hell, I've had my, and we talked about it. So it's not one of those things like, no one's following the code. But let's go ahead and just get into this part where he's talking about artists they're talking about artists need to stop worrying about falling off.
All right.
And what that is that I noticed, and I have to say this for myself as an artist, I at times, and just to kind of give you guys a little brief story of myself, when I was in the Pacific Northwest metal scene here, I've been in it for about 23 years. And the last band I was in, I had got into a big incident to where it got pretty public locally, right? And it was one of those things where pretty much the scene, like, kind of exiled me for a bit. Like, certain venues were all pissed at me, even though I never went into their venues and caused any type of trouble. They wanted to 86 me because of my feelings towards white supremacy, and I was expressing it online, right? Or if I talk with somebody about it, we would talk about it, but then, they said certain things like, I don't see color and that sort of thing. I got upset about it, and I was like, whatever, fuck that. That's bullshit, because I deal with that every day. So anyway, make a long story short, I pretty much got exiled by a lot of white folks in the metal scene here, right? And it was quite a few other people too, as well. And I thought about falling off. I was like, okay, well,
when was that? Was that in the aftermath of George Floyd and stuff? Or was that before that?
That was before.
Oh, okay.
It was way before.
Okay, well, because I mean, like after like some big incident like George Floyd or Breonna Thomas and stuff like that, after things like that, there is a lot of extra tension, especially between race relation type of things.
Well, yeah,
and that usually causes a lot. So that's why I was just curious. I was like,
yeah.
because I saw a lot of people that divided over all that kind of stuff. Just on
especially when the tribes
small parts of it.
Yeah, and
not even the whole thing.
Well, even with the rise of Trump. I think that when that happened, because I wrote a song basically talking about saying fuck Donald Trump.
Right.
And here's the sad part.
You're not the only one.
I'm not the only one. I know.
There's a lot of people that did that.
But here was the fucked up part about that. When I wrote a song about Obama, when I asked Mr. President, where is the change? Because we still feel shackled and chained. The guy that I was arguing with, who was my former roommate, he put that up on the video. He put that in the video, but when I said something about Trump, he told me he didn't like those lyrics. So I started seeing a bit of hypocrisy going on and contradiction.
It's that called following.
Yeah, and that angered me. So to make a long story short, I ended up feeling like, okay, maybe I fell off.
Right.
And when I started listening, and it was this right here that made me realize I'm not falling off. It was just they were all pissed at me. They were angry with me. And when the new singer joined the band, they were all they were just dogging my black ass all on that fucking on the website, or not the website, I'm sorry, but on their Facebook page. They were all dogging. I even just recently went back and read some of the shit. And I realized when I saw that, I didn't fall off. And then listening to this video right here with Sean and Corey, this made me realize that.
This content is really, let's start with this subject. Can people fall off? And if so, what does it really mean to fall off? In the clip, DC Young Fly was a comedian, artist, dancer, all of those things extraordinary. Modern day Renaissance man. He's the hood Sammy Davis. He's the hood. Is it Sammy Davis Jr.? Yeah, Sammy Davis Jr. He's the hood Jamie Foxx. You know what I mean? Now, he basically says, hey, bro, this falling off shit is bullshit. I have been in front of people's lives, been out here in the streets, like coming to the media, kind of blew up for like 10 years now.
Just crazy.
All right. 5 more years from now, when I'm like, I think he would be like mid-30s or whatever, I don't want to be in front of y'all. All right. I got kids. I got a life. I'm trying to become the behind the scene businessman. And what he was alluding to is something that I agree with, which is, yo, man, a lot of this falling off shit is just perception. And a lot of this perception, of course, is based on what the media has going on. So if you just don't see me no more, I fell off. That's what most people are really just defining it by. But I realized early on, I would be watching TMZ, the show, and I'll be seeing like some old, like, I don't know, actor or something, and they'll be in some fancy store on Rodeo Drive, and the actors look like they doing good in life. And I was like, dang, bro, like, and I'll ask my dad or grandma about them. And I'm like, I haven't ever seen this person anything. They're like, oh yeah, this person was big back in like 1980. Should
be the man.
Yeah. And I'm like, well, dang, I ain't seen them in anything. I don't even look like they did anything in my lifetime in terms of acting and like any kind of acting gigs and shit. But they still at this expensive ass store, you know what I mean? In this well-to-do environment. So how are you judging about falling off? Because if my lifestyle hasn't fell off, what do I really care about all this other shit?
But Sean, you know it's not that simple, man. It's about what we as the people can see and put our fingers on. And when's the last time I seen you at a Kylie Jenner birthday party, bro? You know what I'm saying? If none of those things have happened recently, then who cares that you're still financially stable and probably doing better than 99% of the rest of the population? Who cares about that?
See, that's the damn shame though. Like you just actually hit that shit on the head. The Kylie Jenner shit. You know what you just made me realize? You can't, like personally, you can't follow these niggas' idea of your life falling off or not because they really don't know when you on.
That's true. Yeah.
Like niggas will think, oh, he at Kylie Jenner birthday party, or he at this event, or he's standing next to that person, he on, and you be broke as fuck. And then you disappear. They think you fell off and you be good.
Yeah.
So dictating your life by anything based on what the public thinks, you probably gonna be messed up anyway. Like, so how can we care about the perception of being a fall off when you really didn't know when I got on? Where in this line? You might have saw a lot of events, and eventually somewhere in that event and the current period of time, I did get on, but you don't know when it actually happened. And I was just finessing your ass until I finally got on.
Making this shit look good.
Hey, making that shit shake.
All right.
Right.
So just,
that's 100%, man. It's all about perception. Yeah. And the way he put it in there, he's like, yeah, you can see me at Kylie Jenner's birthday party, but I broke as fuck.
That's it right there.
But he's got a point though, is that motherfuckers always do that. It's all about perception, you know, and that's where that's where artists fall into a trap and stuff like that all the time. But and then especially like in my realm of hip hop, people get called out for that all the time because, you know, if somebody's in a music video with a stack of money and stuff like that, you know, and like throwing it around and everything like that, and then you see them delivering DoorDash a week later, you're like, right? Because especially if they're like, oh yeah, you know, they're talking about how they made all this money off of, you know, it's all dope money and shit, and then you're like, but you're delivering DoorDash for $4 an order.
That motherfucker designed that nigga hiding the crack in the shit.
Yeah, it's like you just delivered McDonald's for $4 all the way across town. How are you balling off of dope money? But you're stooping to broke money. You know what I'm saying?
But he probably ended up slipping that dope under there, you know, that DoorDash bag.
I actually know an artist that he made a song called DoorDash, and he was talking about the premise of the song was posing as a DoorDash person, but you're actually slinging that shit while you're, but not actually picking up food. You just have like the bag and stuff like that. You'll get like some food, put it in the bag in case you get pulled over or whatever. But but you're not actually doing that. You're just slanging, but you have the appearance of DoorDash. You got like the DoorDash stickers on your car and shit. I was like, yo, that's a good idea, actually.
That is, dude. I'm telling you, man. Look, bro. If you think about this, if just not to fall off topic, but that would be a crazy thing. But back to the topic,
right?
I'm just thinking
but
in my
falling
head.
off, yeah, it's all about perception, and then you're giving in to that perception.
Yeah.
Is what messes with your mind. So whenever you, for instance, KP, when you got, you know, you left the band for whatever reason, right? You and the band were no longer, and then they're sitting there saying all this shit, and then you're looking around you, and they're like, oh, you're nothing, you're not doing anything, blah, blah, blah. And you're like, well, yeah, I'm not doing anything. I just left the band. I gotta regroup and get a new band and stuff like that. Cause it's not like you're a solo artist, you know, and stuff like that. So I could see how that would hit you, you know, whenever I initially took my time off, back in 2021, you know, after like 6 months and stuff like that, I had a situation where, some artists were putting together a show locally, and they were like, yeah, I want all the local artists here and blah, 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 and stuff like that. And they invited a bunch of artists, and they didn't even tell me about it. And I was saying something to another artist I know who did get invited to it, because he's the one that told me about it. And I was like, but why the fuck didn't they reach out to me? He goes, dude, 6 months ago, you just posted on your Facebook and shit like that you're going dark for a while and you don't know when you're going to be back. He's like, that looks like you quit. And I was like, oh, well, yeah, you got a point. You know what I'm saying? But in reality, I just took a step back. But yeah, I did. You know, I got into my ego about that. You know, the same as what you probably did as well too. When you were sitting there, you're like, man, did I really fall off? You know, because I was doing all right there for a little bit, and then now I'm not doing anything. I must have fell off. And no, sometimes you just got to fall back to keep going forward. It's not necessarily a falling off, you know, but like Sean said, you know, perception is everything. You know, you can be broke as fuck at Kylie Jenner's birthday party, or you could be, you know, a nobody, and like Corey said, and doing, you know, better than, you know, 99% of the country financially. You know what I'm saying? So it's, you know, the whole falling off thing, it's all perception. And most of the people who are going to say, oh, you fell off, they're the fly-by-nighters anyway. You know, they're not that loyal fan base that you're going to want, that whenever you do put out music, you know, even if it's not every week like Russ was doing, you know what I'm saying? or you're not keeping up with the Joneses and, like, you know, posting
that whole Russ thing, bro. I'm gonna be real with y'all. That whole Russ thing to me was just a goddamn Gary V plot. I'm sorry to say it like that, but it was like, oh, because at that time, Gary V was just barking about, well, you know, if you got the DNA, fucking, why not just put out a song every day? You got the fucking DNA. Like, nigga, ain't nobody gonna be catching on to no song every day. And you see what happens when all these artists, NBA Youngboy, puts out 5 albums in a year. 5 albums in a year. Why? You're not giving anybody time to listen to a goddamn thing you've done.
Before you're throwing the next one at them?
Before you're throwing the next one out. Yeah. You're already putting out song after song after song. It's like, man, I'm going to be like, nigga, I'm not trying to hear all this, dude. After the first goddamn 2 days, I'm done.
Right.
Like, if you're going to keep doing that.
Right. Well, Gary V's one of those people where I listen to, take in some information and discount some other information. Like, whenever he says you should be posting 7 to 10 posts a day on your social media, and you should be doing that on every social media, and you should have each social media post, you know, tailored to that specific platform. And I'm like,
he has a team.
Yeah, exactly. He has a team, right? And he's all talking about that too, but he also says that too. He also says, like, you know, people stop the clip there, right? And they're like, oh, he's talking about unreasonable things. But if you keep playing, he goes, but I completely understand not everybody can do that. So do as much as you can, as often as you can, and try to stay consistent with it. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? That's what he finishes the sentence with, you know, because, like, at first, if you've never heard about Gary Vee, or if you've heard a little bit, you hear the stuff, you know, like where what he was saying to Russ, you know, oh, if you got to put out a new song every day or whatever, stuff like that.
He said that to Gunna, actually. It was Gunna who said that too.
Right. Well, yeah, you know, Gunna decided to sign some paperwork here recently, apparently. So, yeah, you know, that's I made a post about that too, because so for those of y'all who don't know, Gunna got brought up on some charges and stuff like that with a bunch of other artists that were involved in a bunch of like RICO stuff, with Young Thug and stuff like that. Well, he got out, and all the other motherfuckers are still in, and so everybody's like, oh, you fucking wrote up some shit on people, you know what I'm saying? You got on that paperwork. And then he put out some new music, and on his new music video, he is in the whole music video, just him. There's nobody else in the video. And I made a comment about that on my social media. I was like, that speaks a lot to where he's at now, is that, you know, he used to have people all in his videos, and now he can't get a single person, just like 6ix9ine. You know what I'm saying? 6ix9ine has to go do crazy stunts about being beat up in a fucking bathroom and shit like that just to get on the news now, because he's irrelevant. Because, you know, when you build up a certain persona and then you trash that through whatever means, then yeah, you will fall off, because people won't want to fuck with you anymore, because you're not who or what you said you were, you know. But whenever you do stand for who you are, and you continuously do that, you know, like yourself, KP, you know, or like, you know, a bunch of other people, you know, you continuously be who you are. Some people just don't want to fuck with you anymore. It doesn't mean that you fell off, because you're still staying the same. You're still being you, and your true followers, they still rock with you, and they're still like, hey, he's still who he is. There was just a disagreement over in here, or something like that. You know what I'm saying? You're going to have people come and go in and out of your life, either as an artist or in a personal life, right? But as long as you still stay you, obviously we're going to change over time, and every experience that
And
we have,
everybody
or
has
every piece
different
of
views.
information.
Yeah, people's views change and things like that as well.
Yeah. When you get more information or you have a different experience, you change your perspective on different things. And so, but in general, you stay you. You don't try to fake the funk and nothing like that. You know, just like I hate fake it till you make it. That's the worst fucking advice.
I can't stand that shit.
Because I always tell people, like, yeah, go ahead and fake it till you make it, and you'll end up making it just to be only fake. You just be a fake. That's all you're gonna be, is fake.
Yep.
Be real.
And that's where you're gonna really fall off.
Be real. Be
Yep.
real. If you only have 100 followers on social media, you only have 100 followers on social media. But guess what? When you have 5 of them that always share your posts, that always are talking about your music, that are always promoting you, give fucking mad love to those 5 people.
Exactly.
Because that's going to resonate with people way more than you trying to go out and buy a bunch of followers and stuff like that. And you got, 14,000 followers on your page, but you're still only getting 3 fucking likes per post and stuff like that on average. That's when you know that you're oversaturated with nothingness. Be real. Don't fake it till you make it shit. No. That's the worst thing to do.
Yeah.
But
people used to hate me for that when I worked out, because I never did fake it till I make it. I was like, nah, man, if I felt like shit that day, nigga, I feel like shit. And if you don't like it, then hey, stay away from me or let's talk.
Yeah, absolutely.
Right? And that's all to it. And a lot of people I notice, I'm like that. It's like, if I notice you feel like crap, I'll be like, hey man, if you need to chop it up, brother, I'm here for you. But I'm gonna give you your space.
Yep.
So
that has to apply with everything. But yeah, I mean, you just gotta it's hard as an artist to not care about what other people think, because
you're in the public eye.
You're in the public eye. You're an entertainer. You're out here creating things to entertain other people, and you want other people to enjoy what you produce and like you, right? So you worry about your perception, but at the same time, you have to find that balance between give a fuck and not give a fuck. You got to live in the middle. You can't be all the way to either side.
No.
You know what I'm saying? So you have to find that middle, and that middle is hard to find for everyone. But once you find it, then you found it. Yep. And sometimes it's hard to find for people because, a lot of people, there's a lot of people who want to be in the entertainment industry to finally be noticed in their life.
Yeah.
Because they were never noticed. They were always looked down upon. They were always that outcast and stuff like that in society.
Or doubted.
Right. Or doubted and everything like that. Their family or whatever always talks shit to them or whatever the situation is. And so like, I'm going to prove myself. I'm going to show myself. And so then they do what they got to do to get in the public eye and be like, hey, look at me. Everybody's looking at me now. Everybody loves me now and stuff like that. And I get that from a psychological perspective. Some people are just, you get wired like that because your life circumstances. But, you got to find that balance of not always caring about what people's perception of you is, because it's not always going to be correct, but do your best to project a perspective of yourself that is true to who you are.
Exactly.
That's all you can do.
That's beautiful, man.
That's all you can do. Just like with you, how you talk shit about Obama and Trump equally because they were both bad on the same fucking topic, right? You're staying true to you, and you're gonna have people on both sides that love or hate it, right? Because if you're getting heard, if that message is getting heard, by the Obama crowd, when you're talking shit about Trump, they're going to be like, oh, we love you, but as soon as they hear what you said bad about Obama, they're like, oh, and vice versa with Trump, you know what I'm saying? Or whatever the situation is, you just stay you. You be like, hey, I said, fuck this person on this topic. I mean, fuck this person on this topic. I may like something that they did over here, but fuck this person on this topic. You know what I'm saying? Like, people, we become too binary in our society. It's either good or bad. There's no gray.
Yeah, it's like you can't be right about 2 things or wrong about 2 things. Like,
exactly. Yeah. It's like you can't like a specific politician's economic views and then also dislike their foreign policy. Like you can't do that. It's like, well, I thought you were so-and-so's boy. Like, no, I ain't nobody's fucking boy. I'm my boy. It's me.
That's what Ice Cube was saying that when he was talking about how when he was on what was it, BET's, it was sold the Tea with the Sisters or something like that. It's with or Tea with Queen, something like that. With it's with Claudia Jordan, Vivica A. Fox, Lisa Ray, and Sarita Wilson, the one who sang on Kanye's "Whatever You Are, It All Falls Down." That she hit that note, right? And they have a show, and Ice Cube was on there, and he was talking about, at the time he was getting this agenda together to help Black communities, and he said that he went to talk with Biden and he went to talk with Trump.
Right.
And at the time, that's when Trump was in office. And they accused him of rocking with Trump.
Yep.
And he was like, he straight up said, I ain't rocking with nobody. I'm just presenting this thing to the two presidents of our country right now, the presidential candidate and the president who was already elected. I'm giving them a proposition. I'm giving them, hey, can you help in the Black community?
Right.
That was it.
Yep,
and then
exactly.
what Lisa Ray and Claudia and all them did was like, well, what about Black women? What about Black women? He was like, aren't Black women Black people too?
Right.
And it was just this whole thing.
But what they were doing,
right. But go ahead.
What they were doing is they're like, oh, well, Trump doesn't like women, so that means he doesn't like Black women. And he doesn't like non-white people, so he doesn't like Black. You know, they were like picking binaries. And This one
was more like, okay, you're right, but this one was more like he was pointing out specifically for Black people, right?
Right.
Now
she was like, oh, well, what about women?
What about Black women, right? And he's like, well, aren't Black women Black people too? Like, just it was just the whole thing of her. And it was like there was this, and this is where we're starting to see that happen within our cultures, is that there's this separation where it's like it's this battle of sex and gender,
right?
You know, and I think that's something that's been going on, and it's really starting to happen with the music. And the reason that it's happening, and for everybody who says music is not an influence today, you are absolutely
who the
lying.
Fuck says that?
I've heard that from people. I've heard that from quite a few folks on social media. I've also heard it from people outside at the grocery store while I was up in there getting stuff, right? And I'm turning around, dude, nigga, let me tell you how I went off on this one, bro, before we wrap up.
Right.
When I heard that, immediately, it was in the self-checkout line. We were listening to a song. It was Corey Hart's I Wear My Sunglasses at Sunglasses at Night. Listen to that song. And me, I picked it up. And me and this lady, we started talking. Laura, she's a real good friend of mine. But we started talking. And someone made a statement about how no one really listens to music today. Both of us, after we heard that, we turned around and looked at this. This is a white lady too. She's one of the really good friends. And we turned around, we looked at him, then we looked at each other. Then we looked at him again, and at the same time, we were like, "What in the heck are you talking about?"
Did they elaborate on like nobody listens to the lyrics anymore? They only listen to the beat or something? Is that what they were saying?
He was saying it like this. He was saying that in a way, like he said, because of the short attention span, which I get.
Right.
He said that no one listens to music extensively. And we kind of looked at him like, okay, but when he explained that, because he did explain that, because at first he just straight up said no one listens to music.
Right.
And that's when we turned around and said, what the hell are you talking about? And then he explained it as, hey, they weren't listening, people don't listen to music as extensively. I said, that I can see. I said, but to straight up say that no one listens to music, that's absolute nonsense, because we talk about, look how many people come on the bus with their phones on, playing music, and I'm sitting there, even though they're supposed to have their headphones on, you be sitting there, listening to music, you bobbing your head to it, and then the sucker go change the damn song. You like, tell the damn phone DJ, right?
Right.
So,
Right. Well, and I think what that plays to is when people are talking like that, they're saying how, like songs used to have a lot bigger lifespan and people would listen to the same song like a ton and everything like that back in the day. I think what that goes to is that's when music was more scarce than it is today.
And you only had how many platforms for it to be played on?
Exactly. Yeah, you only had so many different platforms for it to be played on. You only had so many different options as opposed to, to getting your music, because you had to have the physical copy of that artist's full album. Mm-hmm. So you couldn't just listen to one song from this artist and another song from that artist and another song from that artist unless you created your own mixtape. Yep. And then when MP3 players came around, then you could create your own playlist based off of your library and stuff like that. But before digital, when everything was all physical, you had unless now that's what I call Music Volume 4000 came out.
Right.
For those of y'all who don't remember, that was like the only the big name mixtape back in the day, right?
Sure was.
And that was just for pop music. It was, that was just for fucking that was fucking dog shit. But anyway, it was mainly for pop music. But like he's saying, people would listen to I Wear My Sunglasses at Night all day, every day, because it kept playing on the radio all day, every day, and people didn't have any other option. Like, if I want to listen to music, I got to turn on the radio.
Right.
But now everyone can listen to exactly what they want to listen to. They can branch out and listen to other things and find what they want to listen to and stuff and just go from there. There's so much more choice now. So I get what that guy's saying. Nobody listens to it anymore, because that is true. Nobody listens to it like that anymore, the same way, but also, people in general exercise a lot more than they used to. It used to be, you wake up and you go to work on the farm or in the factory or whatever the situation is. You didn't go and run for exercise. You didn't go do push-ups and stuff for exercise. You had functional strength, and it is what it is. You get up in the morning, you do all your stuff that you got to do to survive for that day, and then you go to sleep. So I mean, things change as humanity evolves and as culture evolves and stuff like that. It's just it's always going to change. And so that goes back to, I've been editing. So for those that don't know, like, these episodes come out a couple weeks after we already record them. So I just got done editing all the clips up for episode 3. This is episode 6. And for episode 3, and on there, I basically stole the show on that one, unfortunately. But I started noticing that. I was like, damn, man, I didn't even let this dude talk that much. But I was just going off about how people are so focused on the past and not the present and the future, when it comes to live performances and stuff like that, but it's the same way when you're listening to music. People are like, they don't listen to music anymore. Well, it's like they in general, because they in general have so many more options, and it's so much more customizable. Like, I remember,
you can become a fan. Think about this. You can become a fan of The Cure in 10 minutes. Like, if you are young, like if you're in your 20s, and I talk to a kid, if I talk to my kid, like if I talk to my daughter about The Cure. In fact, that's what happens a lot of times, is that I'll sit there and be like, oh, baby, you remember this? You remember this artist? And she's like, no, Dad. I'm like, all right, look him up. Boom. It's like, oh shit, I do remember him, Dad. Right? That sort of thing. Because now it's like, okay, we can go back. And then you can become a fan of The Cure, of you can find Florence Griffith Wheatley, a Black composer. You can find her on Spotify, and you could become a fan of her for within 10 minutes. So if you want to look for Black composers who wrote like Beethoven style music and stuff like that, you go right there and you can find them. That's the beauty of what we are able to have. But the thing is, but I get what he was saying. But here's a kicker. I remember when CDs came out. Actually,
Right.
when I remember, okay, let's go back. We can go back to cassettes. Okay.
Right.
When you did not want to listen to that one song that sucked, you sat there and you sped that bad boy up regardless.
Yep.
CDs became easier to where you could just skip the song.
Right.
MP3, do the same thing.
Yep.
You skip the song. And I'm like, and I trip out on this because I'm sitting there like, y'all say that we don't have the same expansion. But I remember back in the day when Tool came out and someone said, man, this shit's too long. I remember when somebody said, I remember back when Parliament Funkadelic was playing and they played progressively long as well. Somebody said, I remember a homie saying this, and this was like in 2000. It was Maggot Brain. We were listening to that song, and he was like, damn, man, this song long as hell. I was like, yeah.
Yeah.
Like, that's why a lot of hip hop artists were able to sample off of those songs because they were long, they were extended. So they were able to take that part and were able to rock that for about 3 to 5 minutes in a party.
Right. Yeah, there's that as well. And then, yeah, that has a whole lot to do with it. You know, now, yes, songs are shorter and stuff like that. I mean, that's a little bit more of a business move. But at the same time, if you think about it, you know, there got to be to a point where a 3-verse track for hip hop specifically, right? A 3-verse track, by that 3rd verse, it was pretty much garbage because the artist had most of their stuff in the first couple of verses.
Right.
You know, and rock and stuff was a lot different because the way a rock song is formulated, you know, you have like the last portion of a track after like the 2nd verse will be like an extended chorus,
a bridge,
with like a bridge,
yeah.
with a ballad of some kind, stuff like that. So you know, you want to hear that, you know, like Freebird, you know, you listen to like, you know, the first verse and you listen to the hook and then you listen to the 2nd verse. And then they just go, and that's when the tempo just picks up. Yeah, that's when the tempo picks up, and they just go. There's no words for like 3 minutes. It's just musical instruments just hauling ass. They change the whole tempo of the track and everything like that, right? And it's like, you know, just going. And I remember when I was growing up, when my mom would play that song, right? She would sometimes fast forward to getting to that lyrics, point, just because the first portion of that song is like, you know, it's very, very mellow, and then all of a sudden it goes, and people are like, yeah, and that's what they wanted, and it just goes, and that's when drum solos and guitar solos started just being like the thing that you put into music, because people, if they felt it deep within them, they wanted it to go longer, you know? So like, yeah, do that chorus 5 times, you know, hit that bridge, you know, get into it, you know, like, you know, and that's one of those things that, you know, some genres of music have had before, but it takes a specific artist, you know, and now that we have so much accessibility to music, and it's so much easier to make music, in order to have fans that actually want to keep repeating, listen to your song, they want to keep listening to one specific part and everything like that, you really got to put it in there.
Yeah.
You know, and then of course, you know, you got to put it out to all the people and everything too. That's key. Tying back to where we started, it's all about awareness. You know, you got to create, excuse me, hiccup. You got to create a good product, and then you have to put it out in front of the people. They're going to love it. And you may not know who's going to love it.
Yeah.
You know, so you just got to put it out there.
Just got to put it out there. Yeah. You can't focus on, you cannot focus on who loves it. You worry about that. You'll put it like this. You'll find out. Okay. Trust me.
Because they'll tell you.
You'll find out.
Yep. Because they'll tell you. Like, I had somebody on my YouTube the other day, somebody who was a fan of my music like 3-4 years ago, about 4 or 5 years ago, actually, when I first started putting it out, you know, like mainstream and everything like that. When I first started putting it out, people, you know, that I had a few people follow it or whatever, and I had this one person that specifically, they're like, man, I love your music, this is awesome, blah blah blah, keep it up. And I'm like, okay, I appreciate it, thank you. You know, well, I had kind of forgot about this person, honestly, because I hadn't heard anything from him for years. And then all of a sudden, like, I get some comments on my YouTube from some of the songs, and they're like, oh yeah, I remember this song, this is one of the first ones I heard from you, and it got me blah blah blah. You know what I'm saying? I had that, and I mean, that stuff, that happens because if you put out something, when it resonates with somebody, it resonates with them, and you will be surprised the type of person on the surface that resonates with your song. You'd be like, I didn't think you would like that. Like, what the fuck? You know? And you never know. You never know.
That's true.
You never know. You just got to put it out there, and don't worry about SEO, but just put it out there. Just put it out there, and put a solid plan behind it. You know, you don't need search engine optimization. You need content creation strategy. That's what you need. Not SEO, but CCS. That's what you need.
Preach. Yeah,
that's
definitely.
What you need.
Hell yeah,
100%. Anything else you wanted to cover today, Mohawk man?
You know, I just look.
Yeah, you actually got it up today. Normally it's just fuzzy. You actually got it pointed today.
Well, actually, no, I've had it, dude. I've had it more fun. I've had it more pointed than I've had fuzzy. It's just as lately I've been, because of the
well, I'm talking about the episodes.
Well, okay, yeah, okay, fair enough. Yeah, that's true.
So what, you got to put relaxer in that?
No, I did when I first did. That was, my hair was actually in a fro, and then I did the relaxer. And I did like about 3 treatments, because you know how black people hair, we got that.
Yeah, you gotta do extra stuff. Right?
Yeah. So when I did, so actually after I stopped doing it, and I finally got it cut, I had, this joke was about up to here.
Right, like on our logo.
Yeah, it was long. And then but I ended up stopped doing the relaxing treatment. So now my hair is getting back into its curl mode. Right. So that's why you've been seeing it like that, because I've just been like just kind of getting it out and just been able to just put the curls back in. But then I just go ahead and when I wash it and do all that good stuff, and then I just get the work on it, get the pomade and the gel and everything, and the flat iron and blow dryer, and hello.
Yeah, exactly, man. Yeah. That's what's up. All right, y'all. Well, we're gonna head and hop on out of here. If you had any questions, comments, concerns about anything that we were gonna say, that we said here today, you know, drop it down in the comments, drop it up on social media, hit us up in the DMs if you don't want to blast us on public or whatever. If you disagree with anything that we say, please feel free to disagree with us. Please. I mean, you know, obviously have some substance to it, but if you don't want to have substance to it, you just want to disagree, then go ahead and disagree. That's perfectly your right to do. Say what you want to fucking say. We don't give a shit. We're not going to censor you or nothing like that unless you start spamming us with like crazy like spam type of shit or whatever. But if you're sitting there being like, y'all suck, you don't know what the fuck you're doing, you're failed artist trying to tell artists how to succeed, blah blah blah, shit like that or whatever, yeah, go ahead and say that all you want to. I don't give a fuck. You know, it's another comment.
We've heard that.
Well, yeah, there's that, but it's another comment in my point of view, right? But make sure y'all like, share, subscribe. If you like this episode, we do have stuff up on Patreon now as well, so you can go and support us over on Patreon if you'd like. And here very, very well, by the time this episode releases, we will have a donate option up on Spotify. They require 30 days of podcast episodes first before it. So by the time this one airs, you'll have the option to donate on Spotify. Go ahead and donate to us if you want to support us. But liking, sharing, listening, that's really where it's key. Make sure you let at least one other person that you know about us, listen to the show and everything like that. Invite all your friends on Facebook and everything like that to like our page and everything like that as well too. All links are on our website, musicmakingsensepod.com. The link for that is in the description wherever you're hearing this, right here right now. And as always, we just appreciate you for tuning in. We'll be back here next time with some more information or some, you know, hair discussion, one of the two. We'll be back in here with something. All right. So we will see y'all on the next episode. Any last words, KP?
Hey, man, love you guys and keep supporting us. And we're going to keep giving you guys the juice, man.
Absolutely. And and if you want to work with us, we do offer marketing and consultation and coaching services for you as an artist, where we'll help you out and give you some feedback and help you develop plans. Yeah, develop plans and stuff like that as well too. So you can hit us up and let us know which one of us you wanted to talk to, and with free consultations and stuff like that, we'll get you set up. All right, man. So we'll get the fuck up out of here and see y'all on the next episode. This was Music Making Sense Podcast. Y'all have a good one.
Holla, y'all.